Welcome back. The political news in full. The sixth round of the EU-Africa Summit being held in Brussels wraps up on Friday with the participation of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. On the sidelines of the world leaders' participation in the roundtable activities on the health systems and vaccine production, President Sisi expressed appreciation for choosing Egypt to obtain the mRNA technology for vaccine manufacture. The head of state stressed that Egypt has invested in the technology of manufacturing vaccines and in support of the African states to supply vaccines to citizens.
يعني أن نصل يعني أحيانا المتأخرين خير من أن نصل لذلك. السادات والسادة، يسعدني أن أعرب عن تقديري لاختيار مصر ضمن دول القارة الإفريقية التي ستتلقى الدعم.
The World Health Organization announced on Friday that 6 African countries have been chosen to establish their own mRNA vaccine production. Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa and Tunisia were selected as the first recipients of technology from the WHO's global mRNA vaccine hub in a push to ensure Africa can make its own jabs to fight the COVID and other diseases. The WHO said it would work with the first 6 countries chosen to develop a roadmap of training and support so they can start producing vaccines as soon as possible. Training will begin in March. French President Emmanuel Macron said supporting African health sovereignty was one of the key goals of starting up local production to empower regions and countries to fend for themselves during crisis and in peacetime.
شكرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب الفخامة السيدات والسادة، اسمحوا لي ان انا اصف اليوم ده وهذا الصباح بانه صباح جميل مفعم بالامل ومفعم بالسعاده. والمبادره دي كل من ساهم
the epidemic surprised the whole world, and therefore to mobilize finding a solution was fast, even though it took some time. But we say in Africa, to reach sometimes late, better than ever. Please, I would like to announce you to extend my appreciation to choose Egypt by receiving the technology received and the participation of vaccines and to face all other difficult diseases. Our presence here today is a real reflection of the international partnership and the integration or solidarity in the field of health to face the world challenges. If with the required political leadership is there, and as a result of the effort exerted by France, South Africa throughout the previous stages to crystallize the European-African vision to support the African continent to receive the medical technology required for producing the vaccines. I would like also to appreciate the effort existed or exercised by the World WHO to face the impact of the pandemic throughout the world. Such a step come as what Egypt is doing, in fact, to produce the vaccines domestically to be used or through the provision of the brotherly African continent, and based on the industrialized infrastructure invested by Egypt throughout the past years that is capable to embrace such technology and its optimization to guarantee the provision of the vaccines within Egypt and support the African countries for their people. To conclude, I would like to assert that such support that our African countries would receive is only a step through the comprehensive partnership, and we call upon the friendly countries, international institutions to foster the efforts to support the African nations. to fill the gaps from the health needed, as well as the fostering the mechanism through the distribution to be more justice and a response of the economic and social requirements for each country. Thank you.
And that was President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's address at the EU-Africa Summit. And moving forward with our news bulletin, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, stressed the significance of transferring the technology of vaccines manufacturing to the African continent. She added that there is a new technology being designed in Africa, owned by Africans, supported by Europe, and in cooperation with the World Health Organization. Der Leyen referred to the fact that 40 million euros have been invested to face the COVID-19 pandemic, and steps have been taken in this matter, adding that the European Union goal in 2040 that vaccines manufacturing levels should reach 60% in Africa. On the sidelines of the European-Africa Summit, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met in Brussels with his Cypriot counterpart, Nikos Anastasiadis. The two leaders tackled the number of issues of mutual concern. President Sisi has also on Friday held talks with his Tunisian counterpart, Kais Saied, and his residents in Brussels, where they discussed bilateral relations. Presidential spokesperson Bassem Radi said that the talks focused on Egypt's interest in boosting bilateral ties on all levels. They also tackled ways to increase bilateral trade relations and increase investments in infrastructure, as well as increasing consultations in regional issues of mutual concern. And moving forward with our news bulletin, on the sidelines of the European-Africa Summit, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met in Brussels with his Cypriot counterpart, Nikos Anastasiadis. The two leaders tackled a number of issues of mutual concern. President Sisi has also on Friday held talks with his Tunisian counterpart, Kais Saied, at his residence in Brussels, where they discussed bilateral relations. And moving on to Libya. Earlier in the day, President Sisi reiterated Egypt's total support to Libya and its national interests, and to whatever preserved its sovereignty and unity. President Sisi's remarks came in a meeting with the head of the Libyan Presidency Council, Mohammed El Menfi, at his residence in Brussels. Earlier on Thursday, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi took part in the 6th round of the EU-Africa Summit, which was held at the EU headquarters in Brussels. The head of state presided over the round table on the climate change, which was held on the framework of the EU-Africa Summit activities. During the round table, President Sisi stressed that Egypt's hosting for the forthcoming climate summit in November 2022 reflects Egypt's awareness of the climate change challenge. El-Sisi also stressed the significance of supporting green transition in Africa. Later on the day, President Sisi arrived to the Art Museum headquarters in Brussels to attend an official dinner which was held on honor of the heads of state participating in the summit. The two-day summit is held under the title Africa and Europe, Two Continents with Joint Vision to 2030. The first round of the summit was held in Cairo in 2000 and witnessed founding mechanisms for participation in accordance with the Cairo Plan. On the sidelines of the 32nd conference of the Arab Inter-Parliamentary Union held in Cairo, Parliament Speaker Hanafi El-Gibeli met head of the Union Sakr Gubash, who is also the Speaker of the UAE Federal National Council. During the meeting, Gubash reiterated Emirates and Arab countries' appreciation of Egypt's leading and prominent role in the Arab level, while Gibeli has valued Gubash's wise leadership of the Arab Parliamentary Union. Separately, Gibeli held talks with Jordanian Parliament Speaker Abdel Karim Al-Daghmi. The meeting touched on means of enhancing the Egyptian-Jordanian ties on all levels. The Parliament Speaker also met the Somali Parliament delegation participating in the conference. He stressed Egypt's keenness on promoting relations with Somalia, especially on the parliamentary level, expressing Egypt's full support for Somalia on all aspects. Head of Somali Parliament confirmed his country's full support for the Egyptian situation in the issue of the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. In another meeting, El-Gebaili also met his Iraqi counterpart, Mohammed Al-Halbousi, where they discussed bilateral relations and mutual parliamentary cooperation. During the meeting, Al-Halbousi affirmed his country's keenness on coordination and cooperation with Egypt in Jordan. The Egyptian and Spanish naval troops carried out a casual drill in the premises of the Mediterranean Sea's Northern Fleet. Participating in the exercise were the Egyptian frigate Sagm Metaba and the Spanish frigate Victoria. The maneuver saw the troops carrying out a number of different activities aiming at enhancing maritime security in the Mediterranean region. The drill comes in the framework of the Armed Forces General Command to promoting the troops' combat skills against common challenges and exchanging expertise with naval forces of different countries.